Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your closing bell for Monday, April 18th, 2022. Can you believe just 12 days left in this month? I can't believe that. It's just amazing how time is flying. Happy Patriots Day to all that weren't here for our breakfast bankroll this morning. Congrats, shout outs to all the runners and participants in the Boston Marathon. I talked about the Red Sox and I went back on the tape. I think there was about 17 minutes to go. Just then, San Francisco Giants and Mets have been postponed. They're going to make up tomorrow as a part of a doubleheader. 12:10 Pacific time. So they're going to play a doubleheader tomorrow. So I don't know. Does that mean 3:10 and then they'll clear them out and play them at night or whatever it is? It says Pacific time. I'll get more on that. But Mets and Giants have been postponed. So that's three now that have been postponed. Arizona, Washington, San Fran, Mets, and White Sox, Cleveland. I know we're getting an inch to 2 inches of rain later tonight into tomorrow. But where I'm going is to go back on our breakfast bankroll tape. And, Scotty, here comes some steam. Here comes some steam with about 15 minutes to go before first pitch. Sox closed at 140, 141. I see 137, 136. I see a 145. I talk about people that didn't do the homework, that just flip on wherever they follow this stuff. And they're like, oh, my God, look at that late money coming on the Sox. I got to run to the window. The Sox has got to be the right play. I'm following the steam. I'm following the money. Well, after the first inning where Rich Hill gave up a couple and the Nerfy goes down again. The Nerfy goes down again. Trent, how you doing? But anyways, you see I'm all fired up. It's a new day, new week, new beginning. Excited here. Excited for sure. Shout out to our buddy Billy Hewlin, who already checked in with me today. And we talked the board. And down goes the Giant Mets. Down goes. That number really was... in my eyes, was a giant number, and I think Billy thought the same as well. But it is what it is. Let's bring him in. And he talked about the new caricature that I put out in my alert today. And it was funny because our buddy Dave Olson, anyone on Facebook, go follow this guy. His name's Dave Olson. He is a legend when it comes to the caricatures and cartoons. He does so much work for the Celtics, the Red Sox, the Bruins, and we've kind of grabbed a hold of him. And man, he's got Scotty down to a damn T, to his cigar, his lightning hat, and he's got him holding the damn Stanley Cup already. But we'll get to that. So let's bring him in, Mr. Scott E. Webb. Afternoon, Scott.
Hey, you know what they say about down here, right? This is Champa Bay now. It's not Tampa Bay anymore.
You mean it's not Champa Bay?
Well, sometimes it can be a lot of things, I suppose. I mean, yeah. Just like anything else, right? I mean, holy crap. We celebrate your wins when you can get them.
We've been known as the city of champions for so long. We just wanted to pass the torch to you, and we passed the 42-year-old quarterback too. But that's a whole nother story. I always talk about Mother Nature, and one of these guys that hate to start and stop. That was the one that I talked to Billy at length, and I was like, you might sneak 5 in, and if you do, is your edge the way McGill's been pitching? Is that really truly an edge? And the ECSI VIPs got the alert. We have 3 games on the board, Scott, and one of them, I'm not dancing with the devil because my weather report says we're going to get 5 in at least, and we dove into the Rays and Cubbies game. It's going to be cold, but I don't think the rain's going to come till hopefully, at least the 6th inning. And though if we're losing, I hope it comes down in the 4th. But anyways, How you doing, Scott? What's going on in your world?
I am doing really well. Weather's been nice. It's a great Easter weekend. Got to relax a little bit, hung out at the pool some, got a little bit of suntan, didn't burn, so I'd say that's good. Took care of the wife a little bit, took her shopping some. So um, I can't say that the world's been bad to me. So that's nothing wrong with that.
Happy wife, happy life. That's what they say. And that's a big part of uh, keeping everyone happy, I guess. We went through the board this morning. Other than a few cancellations, nothing has changed. We talked about Rich Hill going out there. His dad had passed away on Friday, so heavy-hearted as well. Sox put a ton of base runners on. Couldn't get a clutch hit. I mean, they're 500 right now. I mean, if you dug deep and you could get away from the stench, meaning Mr. Bundy, I mean, the guy's throwing 88, 89, and they're swinging through it. I don't know. I mean, I think he's 2-0 right now, Scott.
Well, I will say that when you lose velocity, you have to learn how to pitch differently, and most of the guys don't do that right away. Most of the guys, they lose velocity like that, they get smashed, and especially what I call being in the danger zone. The danger zone is that number that doesn't hit 90. If you get to 90, that's a max. You're 88, 89. That's batting practice for these guys, man. They see that, and that's a beach ball coming right in out there. So the idea that a guy can lose velocity, it usually happens over time. But for Mr. Bundy, it didn't happen over time. It went overnight. He throwing 90, 93 miles an hour last year. Now he's throwing at 89. He's lost a lot. So he was one of those target guys to look at coming out of spring training that says, look, man, he's going to get smashed because he's not throwing the ball. But the truth of the matter is if you're not going to throw the way you used to, but you learn a different way to throw, meaning that you learn to pitch a little bit, hit the spots you need to do, and do the different things that these wily veteran guys do when they can't throw hard. You can still pitch. You can still pitch in the league because you're actually pitching. You're not just throwing. So maybe he's come along in that sense. But I still say that I'm going to leave that to the rule is still out there. He hasn't proven to me anything except that he's made a couple of good starts here. So we'll see what happens, see how it goes along. But, good for him. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't happen often. And as you see these guys lose velocity, they get smashed. So if he's not going to get smashed and he's going to be able to dance around the corners, that just fulfills a role for Minnesota that they need. I mean, they desperately need pitching. Of course, they need Buxton back in the lineup, but they need pitching. So if they can get that out of him, that helps. Because Sonny Gray's their best pitcher, and Sonny Gray's not an ace. He's a number one maybe on teams like this, but he's not an ace. He wasn't a number one when the Reds on the Reds.
Yeah, it's tough when it comes to the pitching. There's certain names that we have highlighted. Talked last week about like a Matt Harvey of the world. Dylan Bundy is another one. There's certain pitchers that we just fade. You assume the soft tossers are going to get smacked around, and sometimes some of them actually succeed. They become better pitchers as the older they get. Mr. John Tudor. Who was that lefty out in Seattle? Jamie Moyer. Those type of pitchers, the older they get, I don't want to say they become finesse, but they find other ways to get people out instead of rearing back and throwing 95, 98. But with that said, my friend, let's go to the board. I know on Discord you talked about a game or two that you're on. The VIPs already got their alert, so I will tiptoe through the tulips there as well. And then I did give out a free play, but we'll see if any of the numbers moved or anything that you see differently from this morning, Scott.
Well, the only thing that before I jump into the baseball, Jeff, is I'm looking at this Toronto-Philadelphia game in the NBA. They've already played a game. Philadelphia smacked them around, beat them up pretty good. That line was 4.5 because I got the number right here in front of me. It was 4.5 in the first game. And now they're 7.5 point favorites. I think teams adjust and they get better. So I'm expecting Toronto to cover in that 7.5 number. Anyway, that's the only thing I got on the NBA. Now, and when it comes to Major League Baseball, let me flip around to my other screens here. The thing I was looking at is trying to figure out how to play two of my favorite handicapping angles, and the first one is that game out in Houston. And this is going to happen multiple times throughout the season. And the angle basically is when a pitcher makes a start, and then obviously he goes his 5 days rest and then comes back and makes his next start. But he makes his start because of the way the schedule and travel works and so forth. It's against the same team. You would think that doesn't happen hardly ever, but it happens. And some pitchers go through that 3 and 4 times a season. Well, this is the first time I can recollect it's happening this year. And this is Houston is at home. Surprisingly, this is their home opener. They get 9 straight away games. And then they get this game today. It's a home opener against the Angels. And this is Lorenzen against Garcia. That number, the last time I saw it, I think it was around 145 or something like that. Let me see. That number is sitting at 152 at circa right now, which in my mind is way too high. So anyway, that being said, what I try to do here is look at how the pitcher pitched the first time. And if he pitched a good game, you should certainly expect him to pitch a much worse game the second time. That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to fall off the face of the earth and play a terrible, terrible game. But a lot of times that role reversal can be that bad. So I'm going to expect Garcia, who threw a game score 58, which is not a bad number. That's almost ace-like. That's pretty good. That's well above average. He threw a well above average game. So I'm going to expect Garcia to throw a either average game or a below average game today. And then you have to sit there and go, well, can the Angels take advantage of that? Well, the Angels are the number 2 best hitting offense in baseball over the last 7 days. So, yes, they can take care of that. And, yes, I know Mike Trout's not going to play tonight. He got hit in the hand on his left hand yesterday, so he's not going to be in the lineup. But we're looking at data and numbers and how many times Mike Trout's actually faced Garcia. He's batted against him 3 times. He's got 1 hit in 3 times. Not bad, but, I mean, he's not like the stir that breaks the back here on this particular matchup. What I'm not telling you is I would love to have him in the lineup, sure. I mean, he's a great player. But if he's not there, I'm not going to worry about it too much. I do like the idea that the Angels are going to throw Lorenzen today. Now, Lorenzen's a guy they got from Cincinnati. He's kind of a relief pitcher. They stretched him out, and, I think he's probably going to be able to go like 6 innings at the most. I do not want to get involved in the Los Angeles Angels bullpen. That's a terrible bullpen. So we're going to stay in the first 5 innings here. But I'm going to bet this game 2 ways, Jeff. And the first way I'm going to take this game is I'm going to play the first 5 innings on the run line, taking the half a run. And the last time I looked, when I had it this morning, it was 100 plus money, plus 100. Now it's minus 108. I played it at the minus 108. I think that number might be maybe a little different, but it's pretty close. So it's minus 108 there. That's a full game number. I'm taking the run line on a full game. But I'm also going to take like a half a unit size on the money line, just in case they win. If they're winning, that's not too much to say that they wouldn't be, because if they have to cover the half a run, then it's either a 0 or they're winning. So I'm going to throw a half a unit on the run line or the money line, which was plus 144. So I like both of those. And then the last one, as I can't pass it up, I just got to take it, is the other angle that is always fun to at throughout the course of a season is when a pitcher goes out there and throws so well and throws a no-hitter, throws a near no-hitter, like a complete game almost no-hitter, one or two hits they're out or whatever. Boy, do they suck the next time they go out and pitch. So you bet against them, and that's where we find Kershaw today out in Los Angeles. And I don't know how he can get up to the point where he's minus over 200 against the Atlanta Braves, but whatever. He's minus 200 against the Braves, 208, I think, the last time I saw. So Huascar, I can't say his name real good, but Huascar, he's pitching against him. He didn't start too well the first time out, so he's due for a progression start. And the Dodgers haven't seen him much. As a fact, only one player, Trey Turner's got 9 at-bats against him. He's the only one. So I do like the idea, too, that Atlanta hasn't seen a lot of Kershaw, even though he's been around forever. He's only pitched against him twice since 2019. But in both times, they beat the shit out of him. So I like the idea that the Dodgers are I shouldn't say in trouble here, because that's a never should be a word you say. But I think that the Braves have a really good fighting chance, a very good competitive edge. And I think both of them have great bullpens. So give me the Braves 1.5 tonight, and I can get that at minus 109. So you got to beat the Braves by 2, and you got Kershaw coming off of that long stretch through and great performance that he had, and I think you can get away with these 2 plays today.
And that was one of the bigger movers at Circa on the breakfast bankroll. We did give that out as a free play, first 5 plus the half run. That did open up them plus 120 now to minus 108 as well there on that one. NBA, I talked about the NHL, who, including Friday, is on a 22-0 favorite run. And in the NBA, the favorites are like 10-4 ATS. And they're just the mindset of everyone. It's a new week. I'm going to dive in. I'm going to follow the trends. Just be careful, because I think a couple of these numbers are overreactions. Like Philly, I'm not saying they're not going to win by 8 or 10 or whatever, but the whole world was on Toronto game 1. Yet now Philly went box to wire against them very easily as well, and now they're 7.5 point favorites. So just beware there. Secondly, Luka out or doubtful. That line's still at 5. Utah probably will win, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a backdoor cover from Dallas there. And the Denver Golden State game again. It's a one-man versus a team. I mean, Denver just banged up, and they're just riding the Joker as far as they can go. I mean, maybe Golden State wins this game and Denver steals game 3 and Golden State wins the next 2. I don't know, but nothing jumps out to me with the eye test there in the NBA. In bases, again, without tipping our hat in the VIPs, if you want to become a VIP member and you're not, we're running this special probably for the rest of this month at least. You can get on board. Go to www.eastcoastsportsinvestors.com. Go up to the top of the page. It's prices and planning. Scroll near the bottom, and you're going to see this. $2 a day, $59.99 a month. That will get you my plays delivered to your cell phone via text and emailed, and also the Discord channel for $2 a day there. So take a look at that there. The game that kind of sort of intrigued me. Again, I don't know if weather's going to be a factor. It looks like you can get 5 in here. It was with Nola. I'm not going to go in at a 60 or a 58 number, but you can get him minus a half run. I think it was around minus 115 there, slightly near. Wheeler got crushed yesterday. I don't expect both aces to get crushed. 2 very good offensively hitting teams right now. So it'll be interesting to see how Nola fares there in the first 5. I know Scotty doesn't like this one that much. I know Ladola did not pitch well in his first start. And again, there's no such thing as a letdown spot. The Padres feeling good about themselves on Sunday night last night. 2-1 win. Darvish was Darvish. I think there's actually some value here on Cincinnati. I think they're sneaky today. Keep an eye on them. Scotty talked at length about Atlanta. I like them as well today. I think it's a great spot for Atlanta to pounce. After now, Kershaw. Listen, Kershaw's Kershaw. He's a goat. He's not Pedro, but he's a goat. And listen, will he pitch well? I probably, but I just think there's great value on Atlanta there. It's funny. I woke up this morning really liking Houston, and Scott saying that bats have been terrible is right. Usually they get home, there's some home cooking there, but I do see what he sees. I backed off of the game there. We talked about Watkins versus Montas on the breakfast bankroll as well. I think Montas has been pitching great. I think there's value with him in the first 5 over Baltimore, who's feeling real good about themselves after their performance this weekend against the Yankees. And then the Tampa and the Cubs game, again, weather will be a factor. Can you get 5 in? I think, listen, the Cubs had a great home opener weekend against the Brewers. They went on the road and served themselves well. I just know from past history, teams leaving Coors Field and then coming and going anywhere else seems like the bats are lacking. And I like that what the Rays can do here with McClanahan. Listen, Hendricks is a great pitcher. He knows how to pitch. But I think there is definitely an edge here with the Rays early in the first 5 there. There in the pucks, there's really nothing. If I'm correct, I think this is the last full week before the playoffs start. A lot of big prices. Nothing jumps off the board. I talked about the over this morning in the Washington-Colorado game to keep an eye on. Also talked about the first period over in New Jersey and Vegas. And if I had to dive into a full game, I think the Canucks, I lean the Canucks at home. Playing a lot better. I think there's a good. I hate to use value. Value is only value if you cash a ticket, but I would lean Canucks there as well. Any comments, concerns, complaints, questions? You can grab me at EC Sports Invest. You can grab Scotty at Webby20 MLB. You can talk to us about our Discord channel. You can DM me or Scotty, or you can send us an email at eastcoastsportsinvestors@gmail.com. Currently $10 a month, 33 cents a day to come on board there. With that said, we're at that time of the day, Scott. Do we have any Webby's words of wisdom?
We do today. They're a little bit different today, so or maybe just a little bit different formatted. How about that?
All right. So it's Monday, and it's time for Webby's words of wisdom.
So today, I thought something that crossed my mind. I was reading a statement that came across, and then I started thinking about it further. So I just wrote up a little thing. So the statement that came across, it says, when you first start to study a field, it seems like you have to memorize a zillion things, but you don't. What you need to do is identify the core principles, generally 3 to 12 of them, that govern the whole field. So I started thinking about that in ways of what does that really mean? What how do you deal with that? So that led me to thinking about reverse engineered complicated processes. So in other words, when you have a complicated process, you need to reverse engineer it to break it down. So the concept basically is to take and break down a complicated problem into basic concepts / elements / principles. The idea then is to reassemble that after you have broken it down from the ground up. You can't do that until you have complete knowledge of the components and elements. You need to know how they work together or how they work alone. And then that way you can build that stuff back up, because you're going to reason from what you know to be fact. And that's where the things come from. That's a fundamental truth. And in our business, in sports business, we know we're going to be wagering. And the fundamental truth of wagering isn't all the nonsense that goes on about what I say or what Jeff says or any of that stuff. It's what the odds are. Okay, so if you look at the odds and there's a money line out there, and let's just say that that number is minus 125. That's the number. Okay, so what does that mean? I mean, does anybody know? Do you know what it means? What is minus 125? Well, minus 125 is 55.6 implied probability. So let me ask you this question. If you make that bet 100 times, what should you expect to win? Well, you should expect to win 55.5, 55.6, 56% of those bets. So what if you came up with a number and your number wasn't 125? Your number was, let's say it was minus 140. And if your number was minus 140 and now your implied probability is 58%, now you have an edge there that you think you can bet on. If you don't know what your edge you're betting on against the sports book is, you got to stop from where you are today and start getting a little better understanding of what these odds are. So let me explain it to you this way so that it might comes out a little different. So if you're sitting playing poker and you're holding hands, two cards in your hand and you're looking at the board and you think you're going to have a 60% chance to win the pot, right? And in the pot is $200. So the next guy comes along and he makes a pretty big bet. I mean, he decides he's going to bet a little bit more than what the whole pot is. So he throws out, say, $250. So now the pot's got $450 in it, and you still think you got a 60% chance you're going to win the pot, which is relatively high, but it's not like a slam dunk. I mean, it's not like, okay, it's a little bit more than a coin flip. But now you have to make a wager to get the next card. You have to make a wager to put your money in the pot. So how much money's in the pot? There's $450 in the pot. So you have to make a wager of 200 into that 450. So that number is roughly about 50. What is that? 52%. And you have a 60% chance you think you're going to win the pot. So it's pretty close to make that decision, but the odds tell you, yes, you should be playing that hand because your hand is more valuable and better winning percentage than what the pot does. Same thing applies to these money line bets in baseball or hockey or any other sport that you do. You have to understand what your odds are versus what the implied probability the sports book's telling you, and put your money in good. Don't put your money in bad. That's it, Jeff.
I always love the poker analogies because I'm able to understand it a lot easier for me, especially. I'm a poker fanatic. I'm not a good poker player, but I don't claim to be either. But I enjoy the game. As my brain works and my gerbil upstairs works, it allows me to stay grounded. I will be an open book where when it's on TV, it's always on background music. I enjoy the understanding why these people are putting their chips or their money at risk on certain situations where I'd be like, are you kidding me? There's no way in hell. And they end up winning. And so able to understand the board, the numbers, what the money line actually means versus probability is something, again, taking it, I like to say peeling another onion layer, but it's taking our game to to the next level. And that's what we're trying to do, is to keep everyone here on the same page. And it's stuff where, again, a lot of people have questions or are afraid to ask. The only question that's stupid is the one that we don't ask. And again, that's why our Discord channel's there, is to ask those questions. Hey, can you go over that again? Or can you let me understand that a little better? And it will help you to progress to become a better sports wager or investor, as is. So anyone that's wagering on the MLB, especially tonight, keep a close eye on the weather. Google some places to look up some weather. I use Sports Insights, and they have maps and charts of the weather. The East Coast is going to be ugly tonight, tomorrow morning. So keep an eye on that. Nothing worse than putting your hard-earned money on a starting pitcher that maybe sits a half hour, 45 minutes in the bullpen before the game starts, and they're creatures of habit. So watch out when a game is delayed and these guys are out of their routine. Watch some of how these pitchers pitch. And I have a book that I have pitchers that are muckers and the ones that are not, that are ones that are good after a delay and ones that are not. Or, you're banking on a starting pitcher and they start the first inning and then there's an hour delay after that, and then it becomes a bullpen game. Well, what good is a starting pitcher who was minus 150, 60, or 70? Not that we played those odds. Maybe you played them in a first five scenario minus the half run line. Well, he's out after the first inning because of an hour and a half rain delay. Again, other layers, onions that we're peeling back, stuff that most people don't take into consideration. They're just happy they got their bet in and they got their action. But at the end of the week, when you're chasing those units and you're all peed off because I was on the wrong side of Mother Nature, the start, the stop, and all that, you're not chasing those units, and they actually can bank some other units if you look a little further. So, with that said, if you are wagering tonight, please do it responsibly. If you have a problem, pick up the phone. There's an 800 number available. Ask for help. Why? Myself and Scotty care. We want to see you here today, tomorrow, next week, next month, through 2022 and beyond. From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from Scotty Webb at Webby20 MLB, we wish everyone a blessed Monday. Have some fun, cash some tickets, stay in your lanes, be responsible, and we'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning.